Good evening, everybody. This is the Insider's Room. Today, we're bringing you the conference breakdown. And today, we're specifically be looking at the Big Ten tournament. I got my Big Ten expert back on here, Mr. Rick Markell from over by Detroit. How you doing, Rick?
Doing tonight?
Good,
I'm doing
good.
good. How you doing?
Yeah, we'll be looking at the big. Good. We'll look at this Big Ten here for a minute, and so actually, I was going to ask you this before we get into this. Have you heard anything about Brooks from Michigan? How
I
injured he
haven't,
is?
but it didn't look good. He was in a boot.
Okay.
He was in a
Right.
walking booth. Yeah, right there, and that's a huge loss for Michigan. He was probably their best on-ball defender. So not only do they miss his offense, I think they're going to miss his defense a lot more than his offense.
Mm-hmm. Well, that seemed to kind of be a thing yesterday. I mean, he went down. Camp for Iowa went down with kind of the same thing. So yeah, the injuries could play some sort of
Look
thing.
what happened to Villanova. They lost. Villanova lost their top player, and then they lost another guy the other two. So Villanova's nowhere near what they were supposed to be.
Yeah, Gillespie. Yeah, they lost Gillespie, who was like their top offensive guy, and they lost Brown, who was like their point guard. Yeah, so yeah, they're kind of a rudderless ship there too. All right, so let's sort of look at this. We'll look at the bracket first. So you start out games on Wednesday: Minnesota, Northwestern, Nebraska, Penn State. Moving into Thursday, Michigan State, Maryland. Ohio State gets the Minnesota Northwestern winner. Indiana, Rutgers, Nebraska, Penn State, and then it moves on to the big boys: Michigan, Purdue, Illinois, and Iowa.
Right there, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. But let's look at that first game, Minnesota Northwestern. I mean, Minnesota, they look good at the beginning of the year, and then everything's just fault. The wheels are falling off that team. Any leans in that game?
Home. Well, you can't go with Minnesota right now. Home Minnesota at one point was a top 5 team. Home Minnesota.
Right.
But I've never seen a team that had such road home splits that were so out of this world. Plus, the thing with Minnesota, the only way they could win this game is if the game was in Minnesota, which it isn't. So I'm not going to put any money on Minnesota. The other thing is Minnesota is very banged up. They lost their center, Gibson, a couple games ago, and they just don't look. And they don't even look competitive right now. That was a bad loss they had the other day to Rutgers at home. They needed that game to get into the tournament. They didn't even show up for the game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Minnesota. I mean, what they beat Michigan by 20 at home.
Yeah, they killed them. Home Minnesota was one of the top-ranked teams in the country. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they can't play all their games at home.
No, unless they move the tournament to Minnesota, I'm not even discussing them.
All right. The other kind of, I guess you call it a playing game, Nebraska, Penn State. I mean, Penn State. I mean, Lundy won off Sunday. 31 in the game, and he played out of his mind. And this Nebraska team, mate, they're not good, but they seem to play the last. I would say last 3 weeks. Yeah, but the last 3-4 weeks of the season, they seem to be actually playing good. They just can't. They're not good enough to win games, but they seem to be hanging with people.
I give the coach a lot of credit for Nebraska because the team's still playing hard. I'll give them that. They are playing hard, and they lost their top player about, 3 or 4 games ago or longer than that. And when I thought the ship was just ready to sink, they actually hung in there and played well. That being said, I like this Penn State team. They're very feisty. I think they actually, and they play defense. They're pretty solid. They're a well-coached team. Their coach always plays the games to the end. He's a guy that's still following with 3 seconds in a 10-point game. I like Penn State. I think Penn State could win at least the 1 game and maybe a couple games in this tournament.
Yeah, like I said, and if Lundy plays like he did Sunday, I mean they have a shot to win a couple games in this tourney. All right, Thursday, my boys Michigan State taking on Maryland. does that win over Michigan and now they kind of will they let down in this game against Maryland, or
I
or
don't
will
think
they
so, but
continue
I'll
to?
tell you, this Michigan State Maryland game is the one that fascinates me most about the whole tournament setup, because you have a team in Michigan State that's still playing, thinking that they need to win the game to get to the tournament, although I think they are in, based on the resume and everything. But Maryland was a lock for the tournament about 3 weeks ago, or
Right.
about actually 4 or 5 games ago. They were coming off a 5-game winning streak, that 5th game being a blowout of Michigan State.
Yep.
That was a
Yep.
bad loss for Michigan State, and Maryland beat them by like 20. And then they have Northwestern and Penn State on the schedule, both at home, and Maryland couldn't win either one of those games. Now you have the thing where Maryland has to beat Michigan State to get to the tournament. I mean, I think there's no chance that Maryland gets in if they don't beat Michigan State. I don't think they get the job done against Michigan State because Michigan State's hungry, but still, that's a fascinating matchup if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, outside of maybe Illinois, Michigan in the finals, yeah, I mean that's probably my one match I'm looking forward to. All right, so let's say Northwestern Minnesota. Does either one of them have a chance against Ohio State or
No,
no?
no,
But
no. Ohio State's a legitimate top 10 team. They are.
yeah, but they haven't been playing good. Been playing good lately either.
Ohio State suffered. They haven't looked very good lately. They're a Dr. and Jekyll team too.
And talk about Dr. and Jekyll, this Indiana team. Jesus Christ. I mean,
I don't know what to make of that team. Yeah, they're just. I mean, they've had about 3 must-win games in the last week and a half, and they haven't come close to winning any of them. I'm not impressed with the team. I thought Archie Miller was a great hire when Indiana got him. Right now, if I'm an Indiana fan, I think I'm done with Archie Miller at Indiana. But that being said, I don't like the character. I don't like the mojo of this Indiana team.
yeah, yeah. I mean, haven't they beaten Iowa twice?
Yes, they
Yeah,
have beaten Iowa
yeah,
twice, and you can actually make a case that they beat somebody else that was pretty good too. In the Big Ten.
right,
But I mean, if you're going to look, a month or two ago they were playing decent, but lately it's just been terrible. And
right.
if the committee's looking at Indiana now, Indiana's got to get to the championship game if they have any hope of getting a tournament bid.
Right, yeah. I mean, I was on them earlier in the year, and then they cost me a few times, and yeah, I just don't know. I can't make that team out at all anymore.
No,
Uh,
I agree. I'm with you on that.
Rutgers. I mean, Rutgers. What's Rutgers doing up there? I mean,
I they have some talent. I mean,
yeah,
they've got some guys. They're sneaky good. I don't think they played well down the stretch, but they've got Harper, and they've got a big
right,
guy under the middle that can usually control things. And then they went and beat Minnesota in Minnesota, which if that game was played a couple of weeks ago, that would have been a big deal. But this was just Saturday, so that's not a big deal. I don't think Rutgers is that bad a team.
oh yeah, yeah. I agree with you. They're decent, and again, if Harper gets hot, I mean, you know, they can surprise people. But I'm just saying, it's Rutgers. You never see Rutgers up top.
When has it been? Since 1991, I think, since last time they've been in the tournament.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel sorry for Rutgers because they were all set to go to the tournament,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden this COVID thing took over, and now another decade before Rutgers gets a chance to get in the tournament.
Yep, exactly. And so the last game on Thursday was the Nebraska Penn State winner, which we both kind of agree it's going to be Penn State against Wisconsin. And yeah, I think this game sets up good for Penn State. I think that they'd have a legitimate chance to beat Wisconsin. I'm not real impressed with this Wisconsin team. I mean, they're pedestrian to me.
Oh, I agree. I think
know?
they're the most disappointing team in the Big Ten. I'm licking my chops. If I could get Penn State getting, say, 7 against Wisconsin, I'd be over that all day. I don't think this Wisconsin team is very good. I think they don't have many athletes. Once in a while they can hit a shot, but they're not a good perimeter team. Usually they're known for playing defense, and that defense has been sort of shaky
Yeah, exactly. And and I think if because I was watching an Iowa game Sunday, if Wieskamp doesn't get hurt, I think they get blown out in that game actually. But that's another story.
Mhm.
So all right, let's say Michigan State, Michigan. Let's say if those two match up. I guess. I mean, Michigan's a more talented team, obviously. I think again, I agree with you. I think Brooks is going to be a key, and I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know if they will play him because there's already talk Iowa won't play Wieskamp because
I haven't heard that either. I don't know at this point. But even if they know, they're not going to tell anybody until
right,
Wednesday or Thursday,
right,
I would think.
right. But I've heard the talk is that there's no reason for Iowa probably won't play him because they don't need him. They don't need to win. They're in the
Sure,
tournament.
exactly.
They're in
So
the
would you just
tournament.
give them another day? Yeah,
So
I
give
agree.
them the week to
Right.
to heal, depending how
I
bad
agree.
it is.
I completely agree with that. That's a good point.
But even if Brooks doesn't play, I mean, come on. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened at Dickerson Sunday. I don't know how you can let Marcus Bingham do anything to you.
Right.
You should put Bingham
Right.
over his knee and break him in half
Oh,
like a toothpick.
I totally agree. I'll tell you one thing though. When Michigan played Illinois, Illinois had a blueprint and they stopped all those backdoor passes with Wagner driving down to the baseline and getting it into Dickerson. That's been a mainstay play for Michigan. They could get those points whenever they wanted. Illinois did something. I think they packed the middle and they stopped that. And I noticed Michigan State was doing the same thing on Sunday. And you're right. There's no way that Dickerson shouldn't go for 20 and own the boards against Michigan State. Michigan's only been out rebounded in 2 games all year, and it looked again like Michigan State went on the board. So that's the key.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed in my mind is Rocky Watts has been a disappointment, I think, for Michigan State. I think you can say that. But when Brooks goes out, all of a sudden Rocky Watts is going for, I think he had 21 against Michigan. That's a key matchup.
Yeah, well, but that's why I said to one of my friends, I said, "Oh, he finally decided to show up this season."
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
he's been, and he got benched the second half of the first Michigan game, and didn't start in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, he finally showed up, and he finally kind of looked like the player everybody talked about him as being. But yeah, I think that could be an interesting matchup. So
I expect a better effort from Michigan only because I really think after having clinched the Big Ten title on Thursday and having to turn around and go to Lansing and play on Sunday that they weren't as up for it as they could have been. But I'll tell you something. If Michigan's a big favor, I'd look to take State plus the points. I think State's still going to be hungrier. I really do. So I think Michigan beats them, but I think it's a tight game.
If it plays out, the seeds play out. I kind of like this Ohio State Purdue matchup. I just like, you got the two big guys down low.
Oh yeah.
Williams and Liddell. The one thing about Purdue, it's like, I mean, if they could shoot free throws better, I mean that. That's kind of like their big Achilles heel is at the free throw line, and I think that could cost them. But yeah, I think that'll be a good matchup. You got Illinois against either Indiana's or Rutgers. I mean, the
Sumos. Illinois goes to the championship game. I like this Illinois team a lot. I don't see anybody I don't see anybody beating them at least until the championship game. I really like the team. The thing about Purdue, though, just for a minute, is Purdue is completely inexperienced.
Yep.
Most of their guys are young and all that, and I think in a tournament setting, I think next year's a year for Purdue. I don't think it's this year. I like Ohio State in that game.
Yeah, no, that's a good point there. But yeah, I think the Sumo thing is, I mean, you look at it. I mean, it takes Michigan State to break his nose for State to win that game,
Right,
and
right.
then
Yeah.
and then he doesn't play. and then he doesn't play the next game or two, and they still win those games. It's
Yeah.
I do like that. Desumu's tough, Colburn down low. It gives him a big dynamic 1-2 punch.
Yeah, that's just it. And can tie up the middle against any center in the Big Ten. He can tie
Yep.
up the middle of the lane. So I think that's huge for Illinois.
And then if we just go out, then I think if it's Michigan, Purdue, or Michigan, Ohio State, I think Michigan again
Yeah.
should win that one. And
Yep.
then Illinois, Iowa. Yeah, like you said, Colburn can take care, match up with Garza in the paint. If Wieskamp doesn't play, then I don't think they have a chance against Illinois.
I think Iowa is the one team in the Big Ten that gets a lot of publicity that doesn't deserve it. I'm sorry. They're ranked 5, I think, coming out today. They're the number 5 team in the country. I don't buy it. I don't see them as more than a top 10 team. I think Ohio State's better than Iowa. The problem with Iowa, to me, is that they have Garza and they have nobody else. I mean, once in a while, Bohannon, he'll step up and hit a few shots, but it's not consistent. They're not very athletic. And out of the Big Four in the Big Ten, if you look at the Big Four teams in the Big Ten, Illinois, Ohio State, Michigan, and Iowa, the 3 teams play defense. One doesn't. And that team is Iowa. Iowa's 59 in KenPom against defensive efficiency. I mean, I just don't see that team surviving. I think you can run them. They're going to give up a ton of points. I don't like Iowa at all. I don't even consider them a challenge.
You just don't like a team with a lot of white guys.
Wow, those are your words. Those aren't my words.
with good reason when it comes to basketball. I mean, come on. No, I agree with you. Yeah, they're not athletic. I mean, again, yeah, and if their shots, their key is they got to hit their threes. And if Wieskamp doesn't play, then that takes one of their big weapons out. Bohannon can get hot, McCaffrey can get hot, but they're not dependable like Wieskamp. Wieskamp is pretty dependable. And yeah, I think if he's out, yeah, I'm not saying I would say they'd have an outside shot at Illinois if he's playing. Without him, I don't. Yeah, I think they're dead in the water.
Wieskamp is the other guy that you got to worry about. But I guess, yeah, I'll give you that. So if he's not there and they might rest him for the tournament, all I'm saying is you won't go into the window with my money on Iowa. That's all.
Yeah, Garza time, baby. All right, so right now, not knowing how these injuries are going, who's going to play, whatever these injuries and how bad they are, who's your pick to come out of the Big Ten to win this tournament?
Illinois. I was what they did to Michigan was just we could before that game I thought Michigan was clearly the better team in the conference, but I like Illinois. I think they can tie up the middle. I don't know where Michigan's scoring comes from sometime. If they stop Dickerson, I don't know who steps up and hits a big shot. I'm a big Isaiah Livers fan, and I think he can hit from the outside. Wagner, you never know what you get. Some nights you get 20, and some nights, he's really, really quiet. I mean, he was pretty quiet yesterday. I think Illinois is a better balanced team. I really do.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm gonna make a pick to come out, I'm gonna take Iowa. I think, or Illinois. Sorry, I'm gonna take Illinois with you. I mean, my thing is though, yeah, as you're saying, if they don't get it from Dickerson, Livers can score, but you know what you get with the sumo. I mean, that guy.
Oh, exactly.
That guy, he's going to take the ball at the end of the game, and that's it. You know what he can do.
Exactly.
And he's done it a few times this year. Just scored the last 8-10 points. And I got no, just give me the ball. I'm doing my thing, and if I miss, get the rebound and give it back to me.
There's a lot of people that are saying that not only is DeSumo an All-American candidate, but so is Cockburn. So out of the 5 guys, they got 2 guys that are potential All-Americans. I think people miss the bus on Illinois. This is a legit team. They are legitimately good, really good. So that's why I would have to pick Illinois to win the tournament.
And this long shot to come out, a long shot to win this.
Ohio State for me. I will sleep on Ohio State. The problem with Ohio State is that their tallest guy is 6'8", and that hurts. But they've got that little, and that he can hit from any. I really like him. I think he's a star. And then when Washington heats up now against Michigan, he hit everything. And then when Ohio played Michigan State and couldn't hit the rim, I don't know what happened there. I really don't.
Yeah.
But when he heats up, Ohio State's a legitimate team. I like that team, and you can get them, I think, at 1,400 to win the Big Ten tournament. I had already placed a bet on Michigan about a month ago to win the Big Ten tournament and got plus 350. But today on DraftKings, you can get Illinois at plus 375. So I hedged my bet and put a little on Illinois. I think that way you have a Michigan-Illinois championship, and I'm just looking for a plus 350 dog in that game. Yeah, exactly. But I think Illinois at plus 375 on DraftKings to win the Big Ten title is I think that's the best bet on the board by far.
All right. I'll look into that one when we get off here. All right, my long shot. You have to guess. Go with my boys.
Your long shot.
My long shot.
Course.
Michigan State.
You can't count Izzo out in March. That's why I left him to you, because you can't count Izzo out in March.
I'm not putting money on him. I'm not putting my money on him.
You get really good odds on him. This is the highest odds you'd have on Michigan State to win the Big Ten tournament since the Big Ten tournament started. So, I mean, they're definitely a value price, and they're hungry, and they're playing like they need every game, that they have to win every half of every game to get to the tournament. So they're hungry, they have the talent there.
Yeah, it's just more my heart. My head says, "Are you nuts?" I mean,
that's okay.
Outside of the last 2 weeks, they were dog crap. They finally decided to play the last 2 weeks.
Right. Well, they were terrible. That Maryland game, when they went to Maryland a couple Sundays ago and got blown out, that was a game where I said, if Izzo and company have righted this ship, that they should win this Maryland game, and they didn't show up. But since then, and what have they done? They went out and beat a number 2 team, and they beat Ohio, beat Illinois. I mean, you can't argue with their, if you're saying that Iowa's a big 10 team and Illinois is a top 10, those are all Michigan State's beating all those teams. So they've got to go then. Plus they have 9 Q1 wins. Yeah. So they're not all I'm saying is that they're not a true dog. They really aren't, but I'll give you that.
Right. Well, I agree with you, but I can't. That Maryland game, I was basically done that after that game. I'm like, okay, well, they had Ohio State, Illinois, Michigan twice. I'm like, it's over.
Me too. Did you have a Michigan State ticket in that game?
In what game?
In the Michigan State Maryland game. I had a ticket on that. I was on Michigan State.
I think so.
I was upset. I was almost ready to break some half time.
Yeah, I had Michigan as my game of the year against State Sunday. So.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, I talked about this with my Michigan friends, and I was under the impression that. Go ahead.
No, I just thought Michigan. It was. I was looking. I understood how you were looking at it. I looked at it as here's a chance for Michigan to come in here. Just come on here, win big, stick that dagger in the Spartans' heart. Pretty much maybe knock them out of the big dance. And say, there you go, little brother again. Stay home and watch us on TV. No, they came out almost. They came out like the opposite. Hey, brother, come on. I'll let you in. It's like the Williams sisters.
On paper, on paper, Michigan should have killed them. My theory, though, is, hey, look, Michigan never thought midway through the season, at least in my mind, that they could win the Big Ten title. And they went out and they accomplished that, and they won the Big Ten title on Thursday. Tell me that those guys weren't drinking and partying and everything else, and they were enjoying. I just don't know how they could have got up for that Michigan State game. That was my theory. And, then Brooks gets hurt early into that game, and it was just a mess.
Right. but yeah, I understand that. I understand that theory, and yeah, that's usually I would probably go with that theory. But I just thought because it was state, here was their chance to like to kick them in there down and and maybe knock them out of the tournament or
Sure.
make
To give them a dagger, to maybe
right.
kick them up. Right.
And they showed up, and it was almost like
They
it
could
was
have
like
they could have put them out of the tournament.
yeah, it was like the Williams sisters. Serena wins the U.S. Open, and then the next Grand Slam that she lets Venus win one back in the early days. And it was almost like that. Oh, come on, little brother, we'll let you join the party. Come on, we'll give you this
Right.
win here. But all right, well, Rick, that's really good stuff. Good breakdown there,
Right.
and
No, I was
I
thinking each
love.
week. I was thinking, hey, Michigan's got Michigan State 2 games in a row. Beat them both by 20 in each game. They can end Michigan State season. That should have been the mantra, but it didn't turn out that way. Yeah.
No. Yeah. No. I picked the wrong game. I should have taken the first game.
You'll have plenty of
But
chances in the next upcoming 2 weeks. Trust me.
yeah.
You can get all that
Well,
money back and then some.
I get and my other thought on that game was yeah, I thought I actually wrote it up in the write up. I said, you know, uh Dresden Center won't be the same. I could see Michigan State hanging tough or maybe pulling off an upset if you had Dresden Center jam packed and the students going crazy and but because that wasn't there, I just figured, yeah, Michigan would roll them once again, and I'm the one that got rolled. So
Exactly. Well, you know what? You'll have plenty of opportunities to bet them in the Big Ten tournament. So, or at
yeah,
least 2 that
there
we
we go.
know of. So we'll
All right,
see. You got to like them against Maryland, I think, but whatever.
I can't give away all my secrets yet for free, but
Of course, I hear you. I hear you.
I'm not sure
I just
anybody
got
wants to
opinions.
pay
That's
for them.
all I got.
I don't even know if they'd take them for free
Yeah,
now. After
of
all
course.
right, Rick,
Yeah, of
thanks a
course.
lot for your breakdown here, and we'll be in touch, and I'll get how old maybe next week. I'll give you one of the regions. I fill out
Okay.
do
All
a
right.
region show and I'll give you a region and we can look at that and kind of break that down. But yeah, a lot of good information there, Rick, and thanks
Okay.
a lot, and see you again real soon.
Thank you and good luck, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. All right, that's the Insider's Room, Big Ten tournament breakdown. Stick around. I'll be back on very shortly with Mr. Right Cape as we will break down the Big East tournament for you. Thanks everybody for watching. Good luck in all your bets, and I'll talk to you soon.